The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to the Predictive AI World, our mainstay forum for everything AI in sales, sales ops, and marketing, everything that helps you with business growth in this fourth industrial era. My name is Malay Upadhyay and I am the CMO at SalesChoice, welcoming you to a platform that has seen many events hosted over the last couple of years. We are talking about webinars, podcasts, video sessions, each with a different expert in the industry, from large consulting firms to best-selling authors to executives who have been there, done it all, wherein we share what the best practices are that are applicable today for you to be able to perform better at work from a variety of different angles, be it mindfulness, simple solution selling, and everything in between. I encourage you to view these links for more content, but coming back to the agenda at hand, today we are being joined, of course, as always, by Dr. Cindy Gordon, who is the CEO and founder of SalesChoice Inc. Also joining us, and we are so excited about it, is Colleen Francis. You have no doubt heard about her. She is an experienced sales leader with over 25 years of experience. But more importantly, she's also the best-selling author and consultant at something she calls engaged selling. She being an expert, I will turn things to her right now to say a quick hello and introduce herself. Colleen?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me today. I'm really looking forward to working with you guys and chatting a little bit about all the exciting things that are going on in sales and AI and technology and success.
Thank you, Colleen, and welcome to the session. We are, of course, privileged to have you. The agenda today, quite simply, is to run through the introductions and jump straight to some of the dialogue questions, which is the format we'll be following for this particular webinar. There will be time, of course, for all of you to ask your questions. Feel free to put them in as we are going through this particular session. And of course, in the end, we will get to it and make sure that every single query is answered. With that, let me bring in the voice of our CEO, Dr. Cindy Gordon. Cindy?
Thanks, Malay, and thanks, Colleen, for joining us. And we have a really good mixed audience joining us from coast to coast today, all throughout North America. I just finished reviewing the roster, and it's always nice to see that we've got some leaders of sales operations. We also have some senior vice presidents or CROs, some people with social media background, high tech, and looks like also we've got some logistical leaders that are responsible for sales enablement at some of the top tier companies. So really glad everybody's here. There's no question the world that we live in, sales, at the end of the day, as they say, revenue, helps drive the growth that we always need. And it's getting harder and harder to do that. So with no further ado, we'll just dive right in. We try and keep these things fairly fluid. You'll find that Colleen and I will chit-chat back and forth. So we'll just imagine that we're all sitting around the nice kitchen table with Malay and all of you, and we can imagine that we're having, I don't know, it's a nice summer day in Toronto. Maybe a nice glass of iced tea might be appropriate. If you want to add something to that, well, so be it. So Colleen, you are unprecedented in the industry around training people on engagement and the importance of engagement to drive the stickiness in the relationship. But obviously, you've been a vice president leading sales and operations, and so you know the evolution that we've gone through with relationship selling, or maybe even prior solution selling. You know things are getting more, easier to switch, maybe more inundation with, different reporting system, different tools. But what's your fundamental, definition of what engagement means from a sales point of view? I think just to hear your thesis would be great.
Sure, and it's a great question to ask, because what I do find is engagement has changed. The definition of engagement has changed in sales, and so I always look to the research to see what's going on and then compare it to what my clients are doing. What I have noticed is in this marketplace, we have to define engagement not just from the company engaging with their customers, but the customers engaging with the company. And I think that that's a fundamental difference. We used to talk about engagement as being just sort of our activity out as opposed to engagement in. And so what we find is a fully engaged buyer-seller relationship means that they're buying 50% more frequently. So they're buying from us using more channels with more products more often. They're increasing their spending with us. So they're looking for excuses. They're looking for reasons to buy from us because we are delivering high value to them. And they display massive amounts of brand loyalty. And so I like to look at engagement from that perspective, because then I say to my sales teams, okay, what do we need to do to get to this level of engagement, right? So we have a balance. And that's going to mean, not just the frequency and reach that we have as a salesperson, but also if we use speed as a multiplier, because we can reach people more frequently, and if we use a high quantity and a high quality of outreach. So if we look, I think, at the next slide, the formula then for creating this is really about what I say is internal and external ubiquity. So what does that mean? So that just means that we are infiltrated into the customer so deeply that we're considered insiders. We're delivering them high value information, both from the products and services they're buying from us, but also from the thought leadership that we're creating in the marketplace, that they don't think of us as partners. In the olden days, as I like to say, we've all been around selling a long time, right? I always think we used to go to market and say, oh, we want to be your partner. And that isn't engagement anymore. Clients want you to be insiders. And I'm guessing you guys see that as well in the work you do, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so you create partnership or insider status when you're ubiquitous inside that client, meaning they fight tooth and nail to do business with you because they don't want to get rid of you, because you add so much value to them tangibly and intangibly that they would their business and their personal lives would suffer as a result of you not being there. That's what being an insider is. So if we just quickly look at the last slide on this, what I'm asking my clients to do is to produce high value content and publish it to their customer base and their prospect base using a variety of media, and in a ubiquitous way, use speed. So quickly, all the time. So it's this combination. Engagement today is not just reaching out to your customers on an occasional basis. It's responding to them, it's reacting to them quickly, it's being proactive, it's truly understanding what's going on in the world, so you can use a high value of content in your products and in your thought leadership combined with speed and frequency.
So Colleen, just to build on what you're saying, in terms of, obviously one of the popular foundations of selling is the challenger selling. How do you bring more value to the engagement, and actually strategic thoughts, consultative thoughts, where you're even stepping back from your existing product and services solution mix and really playing that advisory role. Is that part of your formula in terms of how you look at engagement? So it's the relationship, dialogue, intensity as well. I know content through a variety of methods is becoming a little bit of a concern because, the fallout of people not reading, right? We're living in this, we have this huge, most of us in marketing have built up, the arsenals of good content. We made it more industry specific, white papers, podcasts, even, our Predictive World series. But, people are in that age of distraction. So any thoughts there in terms of, what's really, really critical to build that engagement and that visceral, memorable experience, because the switching dynamics are so easy these days, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so you raise a couple of really good points here. One, when I talk about thought leadership or content. I believe that a fully engaged client is consuming from you in a variety of different media types. Because everybody learns and reads differently, if we want to call it that. And I'm just using read as sort of a general topic here. So, video, audio, in some cases, it's still that face-to-face delivery. It could be emails, it could be phone calls, it could be networking events, it could be white papers. So I think that the plus and the minus in our marketplace today is there's so many options available for publishing high value content to create engagement. The downside is they all still work. Maybe faxing, okay? Maybe if you get rid of faxing. For sure the telex machine. But it's not about saying, well, we're not going to use video, our clients only read, or it's not about saying we're only going to produce white papers because I don't like video. You have to do all of those things. Now, it's interesting to me also that you bring up Challenger as a methodology. I'm not a Challenger, I'm not associated with Challenger at all. I'm not part of the company or Gartner or didn't write the book, or I'm not a certified Challenger trainer, but I am involved in some very large Challenger implementations supporting teams who are rolling out Challenger. And so it's interesting, I just got off the phone this morning with a team who is working on some Challenger skills. And this concept that they have of the commercial insight where you're teaching the customer something new is so profound when it comes to engagement, because what you're really doing is creating an aha moment. And we had 2 sellers this morning sharing stories from very traditional industries, the oil industry, who said, I just said to the customer, I can sell you that, but it's not the right product for what you need. And you're going to, these bad things are going to happen to you. And the customer actually got mad and said, if you're not going to sell us what we want, then maybe we can't do business. And he just left him the piece of paper that showed how he would avoid the warranty and said, hey, let me know what you guys decide. And he got a call a couple of days later saying, thanks for teaching that to me. Thanks for giving me that insight. You were right. And that's a form of engagement. So the nice thing about a situation like that now is that customer is going to be a customer for a much longer period of time than had that seller just rolled over and said, fine, I'll sell you what you want, right?
Just curious on the story, and you might not know the ending of the story, but was it a sister company or an upsell to another product line that the company had, but so it was another solution, that person wouldn't get the recognition? Was it an upsell, or was it basically a different competitor? Just do you know the ending on that one?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, it was a competitive takeout.
Okay.
And it was a competitive takeout, and we're talking about engine oil here, and the engine oil that the guy wanted to use was okay. It was going to work, but it actually wasn't the right engine oil for that specific engine or the warranty requirement.
Gotcha.
So while the guy could have sold it, he didn't. And I thought it was a great way to create engagement. It's an old school, if you want to say it, way of creating engagement, because they were doing it in person, having a conversation.
Right.
But that's still important. And in order for the sales rep to do that, he's got to have access to data around what the customer is doing, what the equipment is on site, what the requirements for all that equipment. So I think, what you guys are doing in your world is so important. I mean, the general AI world, not just even at SalesChoice, because without access to data like this, we can't have intelligent conversations with clients or create intelligent content for clients that creates the engagement required to get and keep a customer in this marketplace.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to do what that, that account executive did, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So moving along, just to build on the conversation, one of the things that I really admire about you and your research is you're very, very passionate about, moving into sectors that aren't as modernized in terms of process innovation or, sales, detailed discipline skills. So really be nice just to hear how are the legacy businesses faring and modernizing their sales practices, because you've got a really good ear to the ground there, right? And lots of amazing stories to tell.
Yes. Well, it's so interesting working with legacy businesses because they've been around for a long time, right? And one of my clients actually pulled out a sales training manual that they had from, I don't even want to know how long it was ago, but it was so long ago that the training was how to make more right-hand turns in your territory so you could see more customers in a day, okay? So like when we talk about legacy business, we're talking about businesses that have been around for 50 plus years. Now, what's interesting to me is if you look at the slide that I've got here for you, legacy businesses are transforming their sales approach by actually going back to basics to start and saying, okay, let's look at the daily contribution of each sales rep per day and then roll that up to the team with a very simple formula called sales velocity. I did not invent sales velocity. In fact, I don't know who did. It seems to be ubiquitous in the web sphere right now. But all it is this really basic calculation of the number of opportunities multiplied by the average deal value and the percentage win rate and the sales cycle, and then divided that all by the sales cycle length. And what it does, it gives you a contribution per person. And the reason why this is important, as opposed to just a pipeline measure, is we can now fault isolate to see where a sales rep or a sales team is falling short and provide corrective action in a very specific place. Far too many companies just think it's a one-size-fits-all fix for all salespeople or a revenue problem. And what my smartest companies are looking at, who have deep access to data, is no, you know what, Colleen's got a number of opportunities problem. And Casey has a closing rate problem, and someone else has an average deal size problem. And so then they're able to provide just-in-time learning for these particular issues per person to drive up the average contribution. So I think it's really fascinating that my traditional clients, and maybe it's partly because they have big sales teams, mature sales teams, lots of access to historical data on sales processes, customers. They're moving away from one-size-fits-all classroom type training and instead saying, hey, we can serve up now just-in-time learning based on where people are in the pipeline, where opportunities are in the sales cycle, in the buying journey, in their full customer journey, who the competition is, how long things have been in the pipeline based on your strengths and weaknesses. And in doing that, they're making incremental changes to the team's success that are dramatically improving revenue.
So Colleen, this is really interesting. Obviously, percentage of win rates is a very common, KPI that we, see for sure. The length of the sales cycle correlated is not always there in terms of the opportunity type. Average deal size, we try and segment our reps into, specific products that would have maybe a certain bandwidth of mix, etc. How many companies have you seen that are actually started to strategically take these inputs and move them into a calculated formula to really drive increased velocity? I think this is still fairly new, is it not? I haven't seen this type of construct in many of our clients out there. Obviously, we'll talk more about what our AI does, but is this common dashboarding, or are you seeing that this is an evolution of really trying to get more precise on the value contribution? We always look at hitting quotas. You're introducing more constructs here.
Yeah, it's I don't think it's common, although it's being done. So I have at least 2 customers right now who have built it into their dashboard. So using some business intelligence tools and layering it on top of either Microsoft Dynamics or Salesforce.com. They keep a running total on, the salesperson actually has a dashboard of their sales velocity that shows on a daily basis, what their number is, and is it trending up or trending down or staying flat. Some of my clients calculate it on a monthly basis just because of their, if they've got a really long sales cycle. So while I've got 2 who have really formalized it, I probably have about a dozen customers who are using it in an informal way where they create a sales velocity number, everyone knows what it is, and then on a monthly or so basis, just as you would track your gap analysis in your pipeline or have a coaching call with your sales manager, they're actually measuring sales velocity. And then checking, because the key here is where's the problem? Now, what I think is interesting is clients who are going through transitions. So I have a couple of clients who are going through a transition where they're moving, say, from a legacy software business into a software as a service, or they're moving into more of a value-based program, adding modules, changing their pricing. They're interested in their sales velocity because they're concerned that things like sales cycle length may increase because they're getting more complex, more people are involved, the deals are bigger, right? And that's fine, but they want to make sure at the same time their win rate maybe is going up a little bit to help drive revenue and not drag things out too long. So they're playing with the numbers on a team basis just to make sure that they don't inadvertently hurt their sales revenue acceleration.
Yeah, understood. Very powerful. It's always interesting to see the different correlation, but it also is, I think advancing, we always think about outcomes, right? In terms of what percentage we are against plan, and then obviously the full utilization at the end of the year in terms of win rate, who's made their quota. What you're really talking about here is a unit or a productivity measurement on a daily basis or monthly, in the sense of where the sweet spots to really determine if the velocity is at risk or not in many respects, right? So, we're just getting more precise economic thinking in sales. And you know what? It's a good thing, more financial, economic, financial return metrics rather than waiting to the quarter. They can get a more clear direction of the pipeline growth in many respects, but also at a formulatic level. So this is cool. I like it.
Good. Yeah.